Hey, Eric Travis again, and we're going to create our grade books for our class. The starting point is on the navigation bar. Click Gradebook. And when you're there, what I recommend doing at first is saying mass add gradebooks. When you first add gradebooks, you assign them a term. So what I recommend is clicking mass add gradebooks and add all the gradebooks for your classes that have the same term. They can be different topics or different grade levels, but I would select all the ones that have the same terms. Now these are the ones in the demo I deleted. Excuse me there. And so I'm picking those. Otherwise, I'd pick all my classes except my elective, which is quarter long. I'm going to pick my semester long classes, and that's how I'm going to roll. So then I click next, and these are my fall classes. This might be labeled differently, but notice the dates here in our class. So now I'm going to create all my fall classes. Now I teach a quarter class, so I'm going to do that one separately for quarter one because it ends at a different date. So once again, we're creating our grade books by term. And single term's a year-long gradebook, and we start over at the end of the term. So this would be, we don't want to do that, I don't believe. So we're going to click Create the Gradebooks. So I mass added all the gradebooks for a specific term I'm teaching regardless of the class. So these are defined by terms, and I could do them rather than doing it one at a time. I just did all the classes of the same term together. But that was for me periods 1 and periods 2. And now it named the gradebooks by default, starting with period number, name of the class, and its term name. And now I can view these as a list, as tiles, and a table. The next step that I'm going to want to do is link the gradebooks. If these are the same class, I want to set it up so when I create my categories, which I have to do, set up either total points or weighting, and I start adding assignments, I want it to populate in all my gradebooks at once for the ones I've linked. So the next step is to link the gradebooks, and that's right here. So I'm going to click Link Gradebooks. And to link gradebooks, you simply assign them a number. So these two are already linked, and these are a different linking. So I used 1 and 2 already. Obviously you won't have that. So numbers already assigned. You won't have numbers already assigned. What I mean. But I'm going to create a third group. These are the ungrouped. They're marked 0. So I want these, since these are the same class, I'm going to give it, since 1 and 2 are already taken, they won't be in your case, I'm going to assign them group 3. And when I click Save, and notice the comments, the sections here, start date, end date. When I click Save, they are linked. So anything I do in one gradebook is going to be created in the other gradebook. These two are linked for everything I do, and every assignment I add, categories, etc. If for some reason these two classes fall out of sync, and I have an assignment in one, but I don't want it to be assigned in the other, or I want to delete the assignment in one of the classes, I can always go back and unlink them, make the change. Here's my group 3. So if this period 2, we had an assembly that went over and we didn't get to something, I can unlink it, make a change, and it won't affect the other class, and then relink them again. And then subsequent assignments will be linked after that. So once again, I'll put that. Pretty simple to do. Link and unlink if you have to make changes that only affect one of your grades. That was the big question I had. What if the two classes fall out of sync for just a short period of time? So you can unlink them, have them unlinked for a period of time, or for a few assignments, for a few changes you make, and then link them back up. Now the next step in setting up your gradebook is to add the categories. Now I linked these two classes English period 1 and English period 2. So when I add the categories to my first period English class, those same categories will be added to my second period English class. That's why we linked the gradebooks first. So I'm going to click Add Categories. And so I'm going to add a new category. Now, regardless, it's asking if you're doing weighted scoring, if you're weighting your grades by category. I'm going to start with that on. And whether you're weighting your grades by category or you're doing total points, you have to have at least one category anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and start. We'll do classwork. And you can give it a color. You can color code it, and that's how it'll appear in the gradebook. Classwork, projects. Okay, and I'll make participation be yellow. Okay. So once again, I can do weighted category or just total points, but have categories available for the students to see that this particular assignment was an assessment or that was for participation. But I'm going to do weighted categories. And if it's going to give me a warning if they don't add up to 100. So let's see, I'll just make it easy here. 30, 30, 30, 10, and 10. Okay, so I can change that later. When now that I'm ready, I click Save, and I have my weighted categories all set up. Now it may seem I've gone out of order a little bit by starting with categories. I want you to know, though, you can always come back to categories, change these, switch it back to total points, add a category and reconfigure them. They must add up to 100. But let's go to the options now. And we're not using a rubric scale in our total grade right now. So we already have this selected. The next one is weight scores of assignments by category. Then it has apply scores immediately. The way the Aries gradebook is after you enter all your scores, you click grading complete, and then the students can see the scores, and any missing assignments, anything that's not filled in, is marked as missing, and students get 0 points for that. There's some other things you can do, like excuse with an NA or give a temporary excusal, and we'll get into that later. This one's kind of different. Haven't seen this on a gradebook. So you can apply an additional weighting to assignments that are formative or summative. So every assignment that you're adding to your gradebook, it defaults to formative. You mark it as either, is this a formative assignment or is this a summative assignment? And if you want, you can weight by formative and have the summative assignments be worth more than the formative if you'd like. This next one is kind of an interesting tool. Minimum and maximum values for each grade. So if you check this, it defaults to the minimum assignment value being 50 and the maximum being 150. And what that means is if you give a student a 0, they will see that they got a 0 on that assignment, but it's going to calculate that assignment as 50%. Likewise, if they don't do something, and I have this checked, it'll calculate a not completed 0 assignment and give as 50%. So it gives them the half credit. It kind of goes along with that power of 0 philosophy. And you can manipulate this a little bit. Maybe 50% is too much for an assignment. Maybe you want to go, if they don't do something, I'll give them at least a third of the points so that not doing stuff doesn't go too far out of the way. And this is the maximum number of value. The maximum value over 100% assignment is worth. So that I like that in case I add an extra 0, which I've done before. So I'll leave this blank for now, but that's something you can think about doing. It defaults to 50 to 100. Okay. Then the next one is the students I don't have any students in these gradebooks. And you can choose to manually add the students or have them automatically added. I'm kind of much different than PowerSchool. So the way I've thought about this, I probably want to check this at first to automatically add the students because nobody's in there and I just want my class in there. Later, if I want, I can uncheck it. And if you've gotten a new student and they're already in your gradebook and they came in on a Tuesday and you're grading something on a Wednesday and there they are, and you have to deal with the fact that they weren't there but they're in your gradebook for these assignments for a period of time. So you can delay adding a new student to your gradebook if you want. That's how I might use this, but I'm going to initially keep this checked on. So hide overall percentage and trend analysis score. It might be nice at the for the first couple of weeks of school to leave that blanks. I know that I'll leave that blank. I know that I've had students, we've had 3 assignments. Student doesn't turn in one of them and they're upset because they're getting a D and they've never gotten a D before. So you can hide the total overall percent on the parent portal and student portal. And then trend analysis is, are their grades going up? It's a little symbol. I'll show it to you later. I really like it. Is their grade projectile going down? So it has a little up arrow, down arrow. It's kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and check these on for now. And then display final mark. That's the final grade. They call the final grades the A, the B, the C, the D, the mark in this. And then if you're doing total points, you can display how the total point numbers. So I might want to hide the dropped students, and then I don't want to sort my assignments by category, so you can do that. Group them in the gradebook by category. Seemed confusing to me, but that's something you can do. And then do you want to sort your assignments ascending, meaning it starts on the left with earliest in the term and goes on to the right, to the most recent assignments being on the right? Or do you want your most recent assignments being on the way to the left? Which is kind of what I prefer, because that's all the way to the left. Okay, so this is the options. Now, if I did not copy this to my gradebooks, I still can copy this setup to other gradebooks. So if you know this is the setup you want for your quarter long classes, you can copy it to them. And we've already done the categories. We have weighted here. These are the assignments. Once again, it's, I think, really convenient to link your classes together, but you can create an assignment and later then push that same assignment to other classes if you'd like. Has the manage students. Here's the final marks. I'm not sure if we're going to have control over this or not, but very important that they line up perfectly. If there's any gaps, you can mess things up. I'm going to go over narrative grades later. I set it up so I could make an assignment credit, no credit, and I'll go over that later. And then here are the rules. So, for example, if you'd like, you can add a rule. You want to drop number of lowest scores to drop. You can drop the lowest assessment, and this is according to their score or the impact the scores having on the grade. 2 separate things. So their lowest percentage, or maybe the one that was having the most negative impact on the grade, replace with nothing, and you can do update. So, and then you yourself can back up your gradebooks and restore them. So you have control over that. So now you've set up your gradebooks and we're ready to go. In the next one, next video, we'll go over adding assignments.